Annyeong doobies! You want me to make 100 easy Korean dishes? You're crazy! Guess I am. This is 100 easy Korean bachans. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. We're starting with YouTube's favorite ingredient, an egg. Today we're making keramari, aka Korean rolled egg, and what sets it apart from Japanese tamagoyaki is that we mix in chopped veggies, usually carrots and green onion. It's a great way to sneak in some greens for all you man babies out there struggling to eat your vegetables. Whisk everything together to make your egg batter, then lightly oil a non-stick pan and pour in a thin layer of the mixture. Once it starts to set, roll it up tightly and push it to one side. Add more batter to the empty part of the pan, lift the roll ever so slightly to let the new layer connect, and repeat the process until you've used all the batter. Let it cool before slicing into bite-sized pieces. This is a classic banchan you'll find in packed lunches, especially for kids, and honestly is still one of my favorite egg banchans of all times. Dish number 2 is a soup you'll find at a lot of Korean Chinese restaurants called kerangguk. It's Korea's version of egg drop soup, except instead of being thick and kind of snot-like, sorry, there's no better word, it's a clear dashi-based broth. Once the broth is ready, season it with a splash of fish sauce, then slowly drizzle in the egg mixture in a circular motion. You'll see the egg rise to the top like fluffy little clouds, and when that happens, gently break it apart and finish with black pepper and chopped green onion. Top it off with extra crack of black pepper to serve. It's only got 2 main ingredients really, but the depth of umami that comes from the dashi and the fish sauce makes it way more complex than it is. Dish number 3 is keranjim, Korean steamed egg, but I'm gonna show you a super easy microwave hack. Grab a glass container and crack in 2 eggs, add an equal amount of water, then toss in some of the chopped carrots and green onion we prepped earlier for a little fiber and color. Season with salt, give it a good mix, unlike your hipster boyfriend who DJs for fun. Seal it up. I'm using a silicone lid, but you can use plastic wrap as well. Just make sure there's a small hole or a gap to let some of the excess steam escape, or you're gonna end up with a bomb, an eggy bomb. Microwave for 5 minutes, and when you lift the lid, you'll have a perfectly jiggly, fluffy steamed egg. Drizzle in a little sesame oil because you're Korean, and you have yourself one of the easiest egg dishes you can make.
This is literally what would come out for school lunch at least once a week. Microwave is your friend, not foe.
Next dish is called a Korean drug egg, not because it contains cocaine, but because it tastes like crack. Disclaimer, I've never tried crack yet, but I've cracked the code to making a perfectly boiled 7-minute egg where it's still soft and supple like a woman's touch when peeled. And the key is to cook it with vinegar and cold chocolate. For our marinade, it's soy sauce, sugar, water, green onion, carrot, onion, sesame seeds, and obviously sesame oil, and pour it over the egg, making sure it's fully submerged in the marinade, and set it aside overnight to absorb all the goodness. For our 5th eggie, we're turning up the heat, hot and spicy, baby! Start by sauteing onions and carrots, then add gochugaru, gochujang, and a little bit of sugar. Once it gets nice and toasty, deglaze with some water to make your sauce. And this is exactly what I love about banchan, so many overlapping ingredients that branch off into endless variations, and while I was busy yapping about that, our sauce is thinking up beautifully. If you've ever ordered Tteokbokki before and paid that extra 50 cents for a boiled egg just to dip it in the sauce, this is what this dish tastes like. An excellent luxury.
I think this might be my favorite egg dish.
Dish 6 is a dish that all mothers make when they don't want to cook for their carnivorous children, but also make them happy in the morning. Jangajji, aka soy-braised beef and egg. Usually, beef brisket is used because although it's lean, it becomes really tender when simmered and can be shredded into nice strands that are ideal for soaking up liquid because it's a little bit more grainy. So back into the braising liquid goes in soy sauce, sugar, mirin, a couple of cloves of garlic, and the shredded beef, egg, and optionally punctured chilies for a subtle kick. Once the chilies soften, your jangajji is ready to be in the fridge to make you feel rich in beef and egg. So you might have caught on by now, but jang basically means soy sauce, and for Koreans, it's our salt. It's arguably one of the most important condiments in Korean cooking because it brings flavor, umami, and lets us preserve food. Here, I'm making a savory master soy sauce by simmering soy sauce with sugar and aromatics until the veggies infuse with flavor. Once it cools, you can use this as a base to pretty much preserve anything, as long as it's legal and edible, of course. It's one of the best ways to lightly cure raw ingredients like egg yolk to give it jamminess and an umami umami boost, but also for seafood. I made salmon jang by placing sliced salmon on a bed of thinly sliced onions, sprinkle of thinly sliced peppers for heat, let it marinate overnight, and it's ready. Not only salmon, but you can do the same with shrimp, and after 2 days you can see how the texture has become more firm from the curing process. But the king of all soy marinated dishes is still 간장게장, aka soy marinated crabs. It's peak crab season in Korea right now, so it's the perfect time to marinate. I picked up a couple of female crabs and you can tell from the more rounded belly flap, whereas male crabs have pointy ones. And you gotta brush their stinky little teeth to remove any gunk from the crevices.
Welcome to the crusty crab.
Give the girlies a nice manicure and pour over our jang mixture in an airtight container.
See you in 3 days.
And you can't not make soy marinated crabs without making its spicy alter ego, 양념게장, aka spicy marinated crabs. Like all good things in life, it starts with a big cup of chili flakes, soy sauce, sugar, and rice, small syrup, garlic, ginger, and sesame oil. The crab legs are cut in quarters and we're gonna let them get a little drunk on soju to get rid of any fishiness, just 10 minutes, then drain. Add the sauce along with some thinly sliced onions and mix until it looks glossy and saucy. Store it in an airtight container and let it marinate in the fridge for a day. And in Korean, gaejang has an alias called rice thief because with a bowl of freshly steamed rice, it disappears before you even know it. One bite turns into two and suddenly the whole bowl's gone. And if you're scared about dissecting the marinated crab, don't worry because mommy will teach you a crabatomy lesson. First, remove the top shell, but don't throw it away because it makes the perfect vessel for mixing rice in later. And cut the body in half, make sure to remove any gills before plating. A squeeze of that sweet briny crab meat over the warm white rice. It's salty, rich, and melts right in like ocean butter on a bed of clouds.
You already know what I'm about to say. Don't yakbayam. I wish you knew what this tasted like because it's the best thing you're ever gonna taste for the rest of your life. Once you get over the hump of eating crabs raw, you're never gonna go back.
Okay, now that we learned how to make jang, we're moving on to Jangajji. Jangajji means soy pickled vegetables, and the basic recipe is super simple. It's equal parts soy sauce, vinegar, sugar, and water. Soy sauce adds salt, which inhibits bacterial growth. Vinegar makes the environment acidic, which helps keep the pickles shelf stable and crisp. Sugar balances the sharpness and also acts as a preservative. Water dilutes everything just enough to let the flavors soak in without being too intense. This is the master pickling liquid that keeps vegetables crunchy and delicious even after sitting in the fridge for months. And by this point, you might have already caught on, but I'm actually Korean and you know what that means. We love our onion family. So today we're pickling some onions cut into quarters, leeks, and green onion bundles all in the same liquid. The most important part is to make sure everything is fully submerged for proper preservation. So just press it down with a plate or something heavy. And you already know, it's time to pickle some garlic. Right now is peak garlic season in Korea, so we're pickling a whole head of fresh garlic. For this one, I like a sharper, crunchier finish, so it's going to be half vinegar and half master pickling liquid. The garlic needs a couple of weeks in the fridge for the flavor to seep in, but after 2 weeks, when you slice it in half, you get this beautiful cross-section and honestly sends shivers down my trypophobic ass. But at the same time, is it kind of satisfying? Am I a pervert? But it's not just alliums, you can pickle a variety of ingredients. I'm pickling some perilla leaves, and if you've never tried them before, it's Korea's most iconic herb. It's perfect for wrapping pork belly, especially for Korean barbecue. You can even marinate mushrooms. Here I'm using shiitake, and these get a meaty texture when they're pickled. I'm also marinating some whole tomatoes. Just peel them first by scoring the tops, blanching, and cold shocking. Even though it's the same marinade, each ingredient brings out a totally different flavor, so experiment with different combos to see which ones you like best.
Lotus root.
I feel like my role as somebody who makes food content is to get you to try things you normally wouldn't, and if you've never tried lotus before, this is your sign. It's one of the most underrated vegetables ever. It's cheap and easy to find at most Asian grocery stores, and a very versatile ingredient that looks impressive. You can pan fry it, braise it, pickle it, oven bake it, deep fry it, basically anything you'd want to do with a potato, but with more crunch and way more fiber. The trick is to peel it and give it a quick blanch in hot water and a splash of vinegar that keeps it from oxidizing and turning brown. After that, the possibilities are endless. I'm using the same master pickling marinade from earlier, but just like the garlic, I want these to be extra tangy and crunchy, so it's half vinegar and half marinade. Here, I'm making a simple salad that's a staple at a lot of Korean traditional restaurants. All you need to do is grind some black sesame, then mix it with mayo, honey, and vinegar. Toss in your blanched lotus root, and that's it. It's nutty, sweet, and crunchy. Super low effort, but it looks so fancy for no reason. This is one of those dishes you whip out when you have guests over and you want to impress and want to be called a chef. Lotus root also makes for great chips when sliced thin with a mandolin. This style is inspired by Korean bulgogi, which is traditionally coated in rice paste and then deep fried. Mix 1 tablespoon of rice flour with a bit of neutral oil and water. The oil in the batter escapes while baking, forming crispy air bubbles, giving the chips a delicate crunch, and bake at 180 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, flipping halfway through.
진짜 맛있어.
These were so crispy and crunchy, it was even Mama Doobie verified bussin'.
Dare I say, it's better than potato chips.
Another classic way to prepare lotus root is a simple braise. Pan fry the slices in neutral oil, then glaze them with some of the leftover soy pickling liquid to make a sticky, sweet and sour sauce.
And I know it might seem freaky, but it's a very, very easy and versatile ingredient that you should use to boost your fiber and just to spice things up a little bit.
And because lotus root is naturally crunchy and durable, it's also perfect for deep frying. I like to give it a light coating of potato starch, fry it at 190 degrees Celsius, then hit it with a sprinkle of salt and pepper. It's super crunchy and tasty on its own, but dressed in a sweet and sour sauce, in my opinion, it even beats fried pork.
If you have friends that are vegan and you make them fried lotus, sweet and sour style, wow, they will go to war for you.
On the topic of underrated root vegetables, daikon. I feel like for most people, when you see a daikon at the grocery store, you have no idea what to do with it. Well, let me tell you, it's actually rad-ish. Anyways, daikon is great for pickling because it holds its crunch really well and has a little peppery taste to it, and it's also believed to aid digestion. Today we're making gakdugi, a spicy fermented radish kimchi that's usually served with soups or stews to cut through the richness. You want to cut your daikon into Minecraft style cubes, toss them in with salt and sugar, and let it sit for about 30 minutes to draw out moisture. And while that's working, let's make the sauce. Start by making a quick rice glue. This helps bind the sauce to the radish. Just mix rice flour and water, then microwave for 1 minute until thickened. And for the sauce, blend apple, onion, garlic, chili peppers, ginger, and salted shrimp. If you have it, if not, fish sauce works great too. Mix that with the rice glue and gochugaru to make the gakdugi base. After 30 minutes, drain the excess liquid and add the chopped green onions and a splash of fish sauce and massage it all together until the green onions soften slightly. Then pour in your sauce and massage it with your hands. In Korean culture, we have this word called sonmat or hand taste. It's that unspoken magic that comes from cooking with care and experience, and that's exactly what we're doing with this gakdugi. When you use your hands, you're not just mixing, you're feeling it, making sure that the radish is perfectly salted and softened and giving it love. Woo! Let the gakdugi ferment at room temperature for a day or two, then pop it in the fridge to let some of the flavors deepen and develop over time. With the rest of the cubed radish, I made pickled radish by pouring over a hot brine made from 1 cup vinegar, sugar, and a pinch of salt. Just pour it over while it's still hot, and after a day they're ready to eat, especially with some fried chicken. This time, I'm showing you a common North Korean side dish made with radish. Grab a vegetable peeler and shave the radish into thin ribbons. Process is similar to pickles we just made. We're using a hot water brine, parts vinegar, sugar, water, and salt. But the key here is adding a tablespoon of gochugaru. It gives the pickle that gorgeous coral hue. And while the brine is still hot, pour it over the radish through a sieve, let it marinate for a day. And to serve with this pickle, I'm preparing a dish commonly eaten in North Korea called suyu, cold, thinly sliced pork belly. You'll see it as a topping on naengmyeon, aka North Korean cold noodles, paired with this pickle, and it's a match made in heaven. As for the pork, bring a pot of water to boil, add pork, salt, and bay leaf, boil on high for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, this is the key, turn off the heat, put the lid on, and let it cook in the residual heat for 1 hour. Remove the pork, let it cool, then wrap it in cling film, chill overnight, and the next day, you can have thin slices of this beautiful pork that's still slightly pink inside from all the myoglobin, and enjoy with 무 절임.
I love North Korean flavors because it's so simple and clean and very ingredient focused and healthy. This would be like $25 if you ordered this in a restaurant.
For our water radish kimchi, cut the daikon into thick matchsticks, move them into a plastic bag. This is really great because not only is it great for easy cleanup, but it also provides an enclosed environment to help the salt draw out moisture more effectively and encourages even fermentation. Toss it with a generous amount of salt and let it sit for an hour, massaging occasionally so that the liquid starts to release. Then add smashed garlic, sliced ginger, scallions, and a few punctured green chilies. Pour in cold filtered water, just enough to cover and seal the bag, and let it ferment in room temperature for 2 days until it smells slightly tangy. This is an old school lactic acid fermentation, no sugar and no shortcuts. After that, move it into the fridge, give it about a week to really develop its flavor, and it gets really better over time. Pro tip is to let it freeze slightly so it turns icy, and it gets that slushy, almost like a 7-Eleven Slurpee kind of consistency, and this is the base for a killer naengmyeon. Super refreshing during the summer, and this is the OG electrolyte drink. We're really going through thick and thin with this radish because this time we're doing a thin matchstick cut and making musengchae. It's a raw shredded radish salad. Basically, think of it as Korea's papaya salad. You know the drill already, baby. Salt and sugar to draw out moisture. Then you want to give the radish that signature color by adding gochugaru. After that, it's a splash of vinegar, a little more sugar, and some thinly sliced green onion for freshness. Mix it all together and that's it. This next dish is made by stir-frying radish. That's the thing. Next time you hesitate to buy our daikon because you don't know what to do with it, I got all of this out of just one. For this one, you want to first start by making scallion oil. Once it's fragrant, add thinly sliced daikon and season it with a sprinkle of salt. Stir fry until it turns slightly translucent. It's savory, naturally sweet, coming from the radish, and especially comforting during the colder winter months when root veggies are the best. Now we're moving up the vine from the roots to my least favorite ingredient in the world, cucumber. I'm a certified cucumber hater, okay? There's so many things I'd rather eat before I eat a cucumber. I know I always say don't yuck my yum, but I will most definitely yuck your cucumber. However, the one cucumber dish I actually like, even as a lifelong cucumber hater, is Oiji. And I honestly even like how the name sounds. To make it, throw your cucumbers into a plastic bag, just like we did with the dongshimi. And here's a little secret. Add salt, vinegar, soju, and sugar. Seal it tight, massage the bag, and let it ferment at room temperature for about 3 days, flipping it each day to make sure it cures evenly. After a few days, your cucumber should look like this. It needs to bend, not break. That means the water has been drawn out properly. At this point, here's my little secret trick. Add a can of Sprite. It gives that subtle sweetness and fizz, and let it absorb for a day inside the fridge. Once it's ready, slice it thin, then dress with gochugaru, sesame oil, and a sprinkle of sesame seeds. This is truly the only acceptable cucumber dish in my books, even as a certified cucumber hater. Moving on from my least favorite ingredient, yes, you only get one dish for cucumber because it's my channel, my rules, kimchi. For most people, when they think of kimchi, they think of Napa Cabbage kimchi, and that's definitely the most popular, but there are hundreds of different kinds of kimchi. Think of kimchi more like a technique, like pickling, because you can kimchi most things in life. Even your problems marinated long enough in chili and fish sauce, guaranteed won't even seem like a big deal anymore. So I'm making a quick kimchi paste, gochugaru, fish sauce, salted shrimp, minced garlic, and sugar. We'll be using this paste to make a variety of kimchi, just to show you that you don't need to over kimchi-cate things. Leek kimchi, salted in fish sauce and massage for about 10 minutes, then toss with a 1/4 cup of kimchi paste. Green onion kimchi, marinate the white parts of the green onion in fish sauce. After 10 minutes, massage in the kimchi paste. Chive kimchi, same exact process, which is why I threw it in the same container as green onion. Super easy and a classic for us allium-loving Koreans. And we're gonna step up one further with onion kimchi. Cut the onion like you would with a blooming onion, then marinate in salt and water. Thin out some of the kimchi paste with extra fish sauce, add chopped scallions, and use the filling to stuff the layers of the onion. This is a showstopper kimchi, perfect for Korean barbecue. And finally, same drill for tomato kimchi. Score the tomatoes and let them sit in the salt water for 10 minutes. Stuff or coat with the same thinned out kimchi paste. Let it marinate in the fridge for about a day, and it becomes sweet, savory, and juicy, and way easier than it looks. This time we're mixing things up quite literally by adding scallions, onions, sesame seeds, and a bit of water to thin out the kimchi paste. We're making Perilla kimchi. Just layer the Perilla leaves with a thin spread of the sauce, then keep going until you either run out of leaves or container space. It's one of those dishes you make when you're not really in the mood to eat but want something that sparks your appetite. You can also make a variation by simply adding a tablespoon of water, sealing the lid, and microwaving it to steam. This turns it into Perilla jim. The steaming gives it a totally different texture, and it's perfect with a hot bowl of rice. The next section we're covering is, hands down, my favorite style of Korean food, fried. I'm talking about jeon. Jeon is often lazily translated as Korean pancake, but that doesn't really do it justice. These aren't fluffy breakfast stacks or delicate crepes. Jeon refers to savory fritters, crispy, golden, and often eaten on rainy days because the sound of it sizzling in oils is just like rain hitting concrete. There are 3 main types of jeon. 1. Batter-based, where ingredients are mixed with wet flour batter. 2. Egg-dredged, where ingredients are coated in flour and egg or just egg. And number 3 is patty style, where everything is mixed into a seasoned mixture and shaped into patties before cooking. The batter-based version is simple once you understand the basic technique. The mix is a blend of all-purpose flour, cornstarch, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. I'll have the exact measurements linked down below. The secret is a 50-50 ratio of dry mix to icy cold water. The cold water helps prevent too much gluten from forming, which keeps the batter light and crispy. Start with a non-stick pan and a touch of oil. First up, gochujang or Napa Cabbage jeon. This might be the easiest of them all. Just dip each cabbage leaf into the batter and pan fry on both sides until golden. This brings out the natural sweetness of the cabbage, soft inside and crispy on the outside. Slice into bite-sized pieces and serve.
So underrated. So underrated.
Next is gochujang or chive pancake. Equal parts chives to batter, but the batter should only lightly coat the chives. The trick is to fish out the chives first, then add just enough batter to bind it all together on the pan. The chives should shine through, not the batter. Fry until golden on both sides. This is the perfect jeon for rainy days. Last is onion pancake. Same method as the chive version, but with one key step. Sauté the onions first to draw out the moisture and caramelize them. Then add just enough batter to hold them together. Drizzle a little oil around the edges to crisp them up, and you have yourself a sweet and savory onion jeon. The next is a fan favorite, Kimchi Jeon. The key again is 50% chopped kimchi to 50% batter. The most important thing is using aged kimchi. It adds that signature twangy depth. Same technique as before, a drizzle of oil around the edges, medium heat, and flip once the air bubbles have started to form on the surface. It should come out golden, crispy, and red. This next jeon is a guilty pleasure of mine, especially when I'm feeling a little corny. 1 cup of drained canned sweet corn to 1 cup batter, plus a pinch of black pepper for a little zing. My not so secret trick is adding a bit of grated parmesan for saltiness umami. This jeon is inspired by Korean cheesy corn. It's a symphony of flavor of sweet, salty, creamy, and crispy. And I like to go a step further by grating extra cheese on top after pouring the batter, so when you flip it, the cheese forms a golden crust on the other side. Last up, 해물파전, the seafood scallion fritter. Start by layering a generous amount of scallions on the pan, then pour just enough batter to barely hold it together. Add your seafood, I used shrimp, and pour over a whisked egg over the top to help it set. Wait for the bubbles, then flip. I know it looks a little ugly right now, but the magic happens when you flip it again. The scallions caramelize, the egg fluffs up, and the shrimp peeks through like little gems. Sweet, toasty scallions, juicy seafoods, crispy edges. This is the king of all jeons, and nothing pairs better with it than a cold glass of makgeolli, Korean rice wine. Next is Kevin's favorite, 감자, aka potato jeon. There are 2 ways to make it. Ground or julienne. I personally prefer the julienne version because it turns out way crispier. You know the drill by now, baby. Lay down a bed of thinly julienne potatoes, pour just enough batter to hold everything together, then drizzle oil around the edges. Move the pan in a circular motion to help the oil distribute evenly and cook the jeon more uniformly. Once the bottom sets, flip it. You'll see golden brown strips of potato, crisp to perfection, crunchy on the outside, soft and fluffy on the inside. That contrast is exactly why my Danish partner is obsessed with it. So yeah, these are a few of my favorite jeons. But if the whole thing of making the batter intimidates you, I got you with a simpler version that only requires 2 ingredients. Enoki mushroom and eggs. Pile a mountain of enoki mushrooms into an oiled pan on medium heat, let it wilt a little bit, and crack 2 eggs. Mix well to pour over the top. Drizzle extra oil, move the pan in circular motion, and once one side sets, flip. Place the plate on top once finished and flip. There you have it, Enoki jeon. It's one of those dishes I eat once in a while to aid digestion because it has
so much fiber. You'll see it after you poop also.
We're going to our 3rd kind of jeon, the patty type of jeon. First up is one made with pantry staples. All you really need is canned tuna and corn, and it makes an excellent bite. I added a little shredded carrot for color and fiber. Bind everything together with a tablespoon of dry batter, an egg, black pepper scooped into tablespoons, and shape into little nuggets like this. This one's for everyone in bulking season, a protein-heavy jeon made with shrimp and drained tofu. Just 2 ingredients because tofu works as a binder. Blitz it in a food processor with a teaspoon of salt, salt, a splash of soy sauce, and a dash of black pepper until smooth. Scoop out tablespoon-sized portions, pan fry in ample oil, and flip once golden brown. 동그랑땡, a mouthful of a word and one you'll want a mouthful of. It's basically Korea's version of meatball and spaghetti minus the spaghetti and red sauce. So really just a meatball. It's a classic holiday jeon made with ground pork, drained tofu, chives, carrots, and other veggies, but honestly, toss in whatever you like. Your 동그랑땡, your rules. Using the same mix, you can make stuffed shiitake jeon. Twist off the mushroom stems, fill the caps with a tablespoon of the mixture, and pan fry, filling side down with a generous amount of oil. Cook on medium-low and flip after 3 to 4 minutes per side until golden and cooked through. If the thought of undercooked filling stresses you out, try the same idea with bell pepper rings. Cut them into thin rounds, lay them flat on the pan, press the filling in the center, and flip once golden on both sides. Now you've got yourself a potpourri of jeon. This is what I call jeon-alism. Our next underrated ingredient is tofu. I love tofu because not only is it a healthy plant-based protein, it's also super affordable and incredibly versatile. It often gets misunderstood because it doesn't taste like anything. But that's exactly what makes it so OP. It's a blank canvas that soaks up whatever flavor you give it. So let me show you how I transform this tofu from bland to grand. First up, silken tofu. Silken tofu is super soft and delicate and almost custard-like. It doesn't need any cooking and is enjoyed best cold. I usually top it with a simple sauce made of soy sauce, gochugaru vinegar, chopped onion, green onion, sesame seeds, and oil. Adjust the sweetness with a pinch of sugar, spoon the sauce right over the tofu, and enjoy it chilled. It's an easy, protein-rich side dish with zero effort. Next is firm tofu. Firm tofu holds its shape, so it's perfect for sauteing, pan frying, braising, or deep frying. It's one of my favorite simple recipes is tofu kimchi. Just saute aged kimchi with a mix of 50-50 neutral oil for the high smoke point and sesame oil for aroma. Add a little bit of sugar to make it jammy and a splash of water if it starts sticking or burning. Garnish with extra sesame seeds and a drizzle of sesame oil, spoon over the jammy kimchi, and you've got yourself tofu kimchi. You can serve the tofu warm or cold, but I prefer cold because
the hot and cold works really well together.
Now we're pan frying tofu. And you want to use firm tofu here, not silken tofu because it's too delicate and it's going to break apart easily. Cut it into even squares and press gently between a clean towel to get rid of excess moisture. Again, the same oil, half neutral, half sesame. The neutral oil prevents the sesame oil from burning while still giving you that nutty flavor. Fry on both sides until golden brown and don't force it. When it's ready to release, it'll lift easily off the pan. Patience is key. Spoon over the same sauce that we served with silken tofu and garnish with extra chopped green onions. Super simple, but the final dish looks beautiful and restaurant worthy.
I'm always willing to be Tina's avatar because the food is always so good.
Okay, utilizing our last dish, I'm going to show you a braised version, perfect for colder seasons. Start with a bed of thinly sliced onions, then layer in your pan-fried tofu. Pour in the same sauce we've been using, plus a little bit of water, cover and braise on medium-low heat until the onions are soft and the tofu has fully absorbed the sauce. Plate the onions first, then stack your tofu in a Chichen Itza Kaya style tower. Spoon the remaining sauce over the top and finish with more green onions for garnish.
I love tofu. I love tofu.
Now we're making crispy tofu bites in creamy sesame sauce. Start by cubing firm tofu, then lightly dust it in flour. You can deep fry it, but it also works great in an oven or an air fryer. Set it to 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes, flipping halfway to make sure it crisps up evenly. For the creamy sesame tofu sauce, blend together drained tofu, soy sauce, sesame seed, sesame oil, honey, peanut butter, and mirin. It's best to use a blender so the tofu acts as an emulsifier, giving the sauce a smooth, creamy texture, but mine was in the dishwasher, so I just mixed it by hand, and that's totally fine too. Once the tofu is golden and crispy, toss it in the sauce and serve immediately. This is crunchy on the outside and creamy and umami packed coating. It's really good. Next is a dish that feels deeply personal to me, dumplings. I once said a dumpling can never pass by a dumpling shop without getting more dumplings, and yes, I quote myself, get over it. We're making a super simple North Korean style mandu. What makes this style different is that the filling is mixed with drained tofu, which gives it a light airy texture and a clean delicate taste. For the filling, I'm using 50-50 pork American beef, Chinese chives, drained tofu, minced garlic and ginger, salt, soy sauce, pepper, oil, and egg to bind everything together. Mix everything and we're now ready to shape. We're making 3 folds, one for pan frying, one for soup, and another a classic all-purpose fold. We're starting with the easiest one, napjak mandu. Spoon about 1 tablespoon of filling into your dumpling wrapper, wet the edges with water, then fold it into a half moon shape and pinch to seal. That's it. The second style is for mandukuk. Same as above, but after folding it into a half moon, bring the 2 pointed ends together and pinch to form a rounded, I don't know, belly button shape? Like an innie? It should look like a little pouch with a center dimple. That helps it cook evenly and look extra cute, like a little belly button floating in soup. The third is a classic all-purpose mandu fold, and this is one that works for everything. I like to do 4 pleats total, 2 on each side. Start with your dumpling wrapper and place about 1 tablespoon of filling in the center. Wet the edges with a little water. Now starting from the center, make 2 pleats going outward on one side, pressing to seal as you go, then repeat on the other side. You'll end up with a nice crescent shape with a slight curve. It's simple and secure and versatile for any cooking method. If you want to learn how to fold mandus faster, just do it with someone you like. Trust me, it makes the time go faster and way more fun. Folding mandu is all about that communal experience. After a few laughs and a couple stories, this is what you'll end up with. A tray full of perfectly wrapped dumplings. If you're not planning to eat them right away, the best practice is to steam them first before freezing. Steaming prevents them from sticking together in the freezer and also helps avoid bursting when you cook them later. Just steam them with the lid on for 12 minutes. Once they're done, it's impossible not to sneak in a little tester straight out of the steamer with a little dipping sauce on the side. For breakfast the next day, I made mandukuk. It's great anytime you want something cozy and satisfying. Drop the frozen dumplings straight into the simmering dashi broth, season with a little bit of fish sauce, and after 5 minutes, or once the dumpling edges start looking translucent, they're ready. Serve in a bowl, topped with chopped green onions, and finish with a drizzle of sesame oil. For my little flatties, all my ladies, we're pan frying them in some neutral oil until golden brown. These are napjak mandu, and napjak literally just means flat. A classic side for these crispy mandus is pache, a thinly sliced leek salad you've probably seen at Korean barbecue. The combo of the sweet, sharp leeks with the golden dumplings is absolutely perfect. Also, can you listen to how crispy these are?
Game over.
Next tofu number is my ultimate hangover cure, sundubu jjigae, aka soft silken tofu stew. The key to the flavor is a jammy chili oil base. Start by infusing your holy trinity of alliums, onion, scallion, garlic, and oil, then stir in gochugaru to bloom and make the chili oil. Toast in some soy sauce and fish sauce for that deep umami hit, a crack of black pepper, and the base is done. Now add squash and dashi broth or water, that works fine too. Then gently put in your silken tofu. I'm tossing in a few frozen dumplings from earlier, plus enoki mushrooms and an egg for extra protein. Finish with a splash of fish sauce for the final season. And now you've got a bubbling pot of red hot lava to wash away your hangover sins.
I don't have a hangover, but I feel like I just cured one.
We've arrived at our final tofu destination and we're segueing into our next ingredient, broccoli. We're making broccoli tofu muchim, a super simple banchan. Start by blanching tofu and broccoli in salted water. Cut the broccoli into florets. Don't forget the stem. Eat the whole thing and have no waste. Add the drained tofu to a bowl with sesame seeds, sesame oil, and a crack of black pepper. Mix everything together until it comes together like a chunky, nutty salad. It might not be the flashiest side dish, but it's one of my personal favorites. The nuttiness of the tofu really comes through, and the blanching aggrandizes that richness. This is an essential sauce that anyone getting into Korean food should know, cho gochujang. It literally means vinegared gochujang, and it's a staple dipping sauce commonly used for raw seafood, but also for some reason broccoli and alliums too. It's a super simple ratio of equal parts gochujang, vinegar, and sugar. That's it. Plate your blanched broccoli, spoon over the sauce, and bam, you've got yourself another ridiculously easy go-to banchan.
Very classic.
Since we've already made gochujang, I'm gonna milk it and show you another dish that old-timers in Korea swear by. Start by blanching big old bundles of scallions in hot water, then cold shock them in ice water to lock in that bright green color. Tie them up just like your childhood trauma into tight little bundles and plate it like this. So pretty and perfect, just like how my mama wanted me to be, but I never could live up to. Anyways, it's one of my favorite dishes that's surprisingly flavorful and mellow, not too oniony at all. The texture and the sauce really carries the whole thing.
super juicy, tender, and sweet. We love our alliums.
You can't deny a Korean their hwaemuchim if there's homemade chogochujang in the fridge. Use any type of raw fish. I'm using salmon, and make a quick salad with thinly sliced onions, carrots, and leeks. Drizzle over chogochujang and mix it all up. Obviously finish with a splash of sesame oil and a tablespoon of sesame seed because I'm Korean, duh. It's simple but low-key kind of fancy. It's the type of appetizer you need to try out this summer. We're moving on to namul, which I think personally is the cornerstone of Korean home cooking. Namul basically means seasoned vegetable side dish, and the seasonings are very simple usually. We're starting with blanched varieties, also known as sukchae. The process is more or less the same across the board. Blanch in hot water, shock in cold water to keep it crunchy, squeeze out excess moisture, and dress in your desired seasoning. And for our bean sprouts, we're seasoning it with minced garlic, salt, and sesame oil. Dress it gently. Think of untangling like a ball of yarn. Don't overmix or crush it or you'll lose that signature crunch. And not to be confused with bean sprouts earlier, we're making kongnamul, aka sprouted soybeans. The difference between bean sprouts and sprouted soybeans is that bean sprouts comes from mung bean sprouts. Same process, but this one gets a little gochugaru for a touch of heat and color. Napa Cabbage namul. Blanch the cabbage leaves, shock them in cold water, and gently squeeze out the moisture. Key detail here is instead of cutting, tear the cabbage along its natural fibers. Season with doenjang, aka Korean fermented soybean paste, sesame oil, and sesame seeds. You'll get that natural sweetness from the Napa cabbage with that deep salty umami from the doenjang. In Korea, we have a different spinach varietal that you can eat whole, even including the roots, but your standard grocery store spinach bag will also work fine too. Quick tip, if you're making multiple namul, always blanch spinach last. It turns the water green and can mess with the color of other veggies unless you want to boil a pot of water every time. Season with minced garlic, sesame oil, a pinch of salt, sesame seeds, and that's it. A must-have for bibimbap. Now we're moving on to 볶음 namul, the stir-fried kind. It's so simple that you might think, is this even a dish? But that's exactly the beauty of namul. It's not meant to stand alone and it shines in the ensemble. The tiny details make all the difference. For our onion namul, a quick saute and a finishing splash of fish sauce is what brings out the sweet crunch and umami. Carrot namul, lightly saute and just salt to preserve the natural sweetness and color. Shiitake mushroom namul, start dry with no oil on the pan as this gives the mushrooms a nice squishy texture when all the moisture evaporates so that it's not slimy. And look at how much it shriveled, then push it to the side, caramelize a splash of soy sauce, and finish with sesame oil, and the result is a smoky, meaty mushroom with bite. Potato namul, same logic, gently saute with salt and black pepper. You still want a bit of firmness left in each piece. Enoki mushroom namul, saute enoki mushrooms in dry pan, no oil. Once they soften and release their moisture, season with soy sauce and a splash of vinegar. Cook it until the vinegar evaporates, and yes, I know I keep saying this, but great for pooping. Same drill, lightly saute thinly sliced zucchini in a bit of oil until lightly golden and caramelized because you still want that bite. Season with 새우젓, which is salted shrimp, and add thinly sliced red chili for a pop of color and subtle heat. The sweetness of the zucchini and the saltiness of the shrimp is a perfect balance. Okay, now the content creator educator hat comes on. Meet an underrated ingredient, seaweed stems. They're exactly what they sound like. Seaweed stems. Usually preserved in salt, I soaked mine overnight in cold water to remove the excess salt, then drained them. You've probably seen them pickled at sushi restaurants or in poke bowls, but they're also amazing stir-fried. Cut them into bite-sized strands, saute in a mix of sesame oil and neutral oil until they turn glossy and slightly darker. Finish with hella amount of sesame seeds, best served warm. So much umami in every bite.
It's really, really good. I know it kind of looks like hair stuck in the bottom of your drain, but it's very tasty.
Now we're moving inland to my childhood favorite, Korean sausage stir-fry, aka soseji 볶음. Score little Vienna sausages so they don't explode like, I don't know what they would explode to. Saute onions and bell peppers in oil, then toss in the sausages. Season with soy sauce, and my little secret trick is ketchup. It adds that sweet, tangy combo, and opening this up during lunchtime was my peak joy. One bite and a taste of childhood.
Forever young, I wanna be forever young.
And with all these namuls, of course, I had to make bibimbap. A lot of people overthink bibimbap, but it literally just means mixed rice. It's the perfect dish to empty your fridge out, and you can put whatever you want in it as long as it has rice, and it's legal and edible. All the namul we made might just seem simple on their own, but together they create something truly magical. Each side dish brings out its own color, texture, and flavor to the bowl. I topped mine with soy-cured egg yolk, a generous drizzle of sesame oil, and a dollop of gochujang to tie it all together. Now we're diving into some long-lasting seafood banchan. First up, stir-fried anchovies with crushed almonds. You can also use walnuts, peanuts, or these nuts. Sorry, I couldn't resist. My inner boy just had to. Toast the dried anchovies in dry pan to get rid of the fishiness and bring out the deep roasted flavor. Add the almonds or any nut of your choice and toast them too. Then add a tiny splash of neutral oil to help with the caramelization, a touch of soy sauce for aroma, not salt, and sugar. Mix until glossy and golden and finish with sesame seeds. And this turns crunchy, salty, sweet, and super duper snackable.
The key point right now is to let it cool down completely before you eat it, and that crispiness and the nuttiness from the almonds are only going to be activated when it cools down. Right now it's just going to be a little soggy and a little fishy.
This is the spicy cousin to the 멸치볶음 that we made earlier, which is spicy 멸치볶음. Same toasting process, then add a little bit of oil and a spicy sauce that I made from 양념게장. Add the sauce, deglaze with a splash of water so it doesn't burn. These anchovies end up softer, so older folks tend to love this version, including myself. Finish with a touch of sesame oil. This spicy 멸치볶음 is best enjoyed with, brace yourself, our next dish, cold rice with cold water. I know that this might sound weird, but this is a classic Korean comfort meal, especially during hot summers or on days where you just don't have any appetite. And you definitely want something salty to cut through the blandness, and spicy 멸치볶음 is perfect for that. Think of it as Korean sambal. After prepping for nearly 80 banchans and being overstimulated by every sauce imaginable, this was the meal that really grounded me. Another classic banchan you can't skip is stir-fried fish cake. This, along with sausage 볶음, is top 2 for a lot of Korean kids. Start by cutting the fish cakes into thin strips, drizzle in neutral oil in a pan, saute thinly sliced leeks to make a quick leek oil. Then add the fish cakes and stir-fry until golden brown. Push everything to one side, then caramelize a splash of soy sauce for aroma and a bit of sugar for sweetness. Mix it all together and voila! We're making kimchi spicy dried squid. You'll find these dehydrated squid strips at most Korean grocery stores. They have a nice chewy texture that we personally love. Cut them into manageable lengths, and for the sauce, toast our spicy master sauce in a bit of oil to bring out the chili oil, and my secret ingredient is a little bit of peanut butter. It adds richness and that je ne sais quoi. Mix until smooth, then thin it out with a little bit of water. Turn off the heat, toss in the squid, and mix until coated. 2 tricks here. Toast the chili oil and bloom the peanut butter. This gives the dish its gloss and levels up a simple banchan into something special. Speaking of squid, let's marinate your boyfriend, aka jukumi. It's jukumi season here in Korea, so add in your spicy marinade with thinly sliced onions and bring it all to a pan. Saute over medium heat, add a little bit of water, then close the lid and let it braise for 5 minutes. I know this looks burnt, but it's not, it's just the octopus ink. You can eat them whole, they're juicy, tender, and the trick is to not overcook them. Okay, as I was doing these banchan series, I realized I might have some weird obsession with root vegetables because our next focus ingredient is potatoes. Everyone has them, and they're cheap, so I wanted to show you how you can transform your everyday taters in Korean style. First is 감자조림, which is potato braise. Start by searing the potatoes, deglaze with Jangajji sauce from earlier, or a mix of soy sauce, sugar, vinegar, and water for a tangy sweet braise. Don't worry, it's not going to be too sour. The vinegar will evaporate and give the dish a certain effervescent, ooh, fancy word, aroma. Cover the pot and let the potatoes simmer. Midway through, I like to slice the bigger chunks along their natural grain. Some of the edges will break down and release starch, which then thickens the sauce naturally. Uncover and let the remaining liquid reduce into a glossy glaze. Finish with sesame oil and sesame seeds, and you have a sweet and salty 감자조림. This next dish is one that kept me alive in college, especially during the freezing Ithaca winters with nothing in the fridge but sprouting potatoes and canned tuna. Use oil-packed tuna, the juice and all. Add it all to a pot with minced garlic, gochugaru, and gochujang. Saute into a thick paste, then deglaze with water. Add in potatoes and onions, cover and simmer on medium-low for 15 minutes. Poke with the chopstick to check if it's done, then finish with fish sauce and sesame oil. It's a hearty, spicy, and soul-warming dish, exactly what you want when the snow is higher than your budget.
This recipe will be the recession index.
Our next dish is a little bit more bourgeois because beef is expensive in Korea, man. So to maximize that beefy flavor, we're making soup. Start by essentially making a concentrated beef DIY bouillon. Heavily salt the beef and season with minced garlic, soy sauce, salt, and black pepper. Add a little water and simmer it on low and let all the seasoning penetrate the beef. Once the beef is slightly cooked, add potatoes, stir and simmer, then deglaze with water. Add enough leeks to give you a second-degree heartburn, and you've got yourself a deeply savory, cozy potato and beef soup. Now we're moving on to guk, aka soup. Koreans love soup. It's nourishing, affordable, and filling, even when it's just made with vegetables. The key to a great guk is time and patience, but we're skipping that thanks to fermented ingredients. And the first guk that we're making is spinach doenjang guk. Start by making the base with water and doenjang. Dashi stock is ideal, but if you don't have any, fish sauce works in a pinch. Add a teaspoon of gochugaru for color. Once it boils, toss in your spinach, then turn off the heat right away to preserve its green color. Finish with sliced chili pepper for extra color and zing, and that's it, spinach doenjang guk. If guk is soup, then jjigae is stew. It's thicker and saltier and packed with more stuff. We're making doenjang jjigae with minced beef, the kind you'll find at Korean barbecue restaurants. Start by sauteing the minced beef with doenjang. Once it becomes a thick paste, deglaze with water and add gochujang. Bring to a boil and add zucchini, onion, thinly sliced potatoes, and gochugaru for the signature color. Let it simmer, then finish with tofu and optionally extra chili. And there you go, my favorite version of beef doenjang jjigae. If guk is soup and jjigae is stew, then gangdoenjang is paste. Think chili texture. It's rich, hearty, and low moisture. It's the same ingredients as doenjang jjigae we just made, but chopped smaller. Saute your vegetables in the rendered beef fat, add gochugaru and soybean paste, and toast everything lightly. Then add a half a block of tofu and mash it up. Pour in a little bit of water, then smush the tofu until it mimics ground beef. And my secret tip, again, it's peanut butter. It gives it a nice depth and creamy texture. Once it comes to a boil, it's ready to be spooned on top of hot rice. We're applying the same idea to kimchi guk, a more diluted, soupier version of kimchi jjigae that's most commonly eaten at home. Start by adding a cup of chopped aged kimchi into boiling dashi stock, then add sprouted soybean for texture and added depth. Season with fish sauce, chopped leeks, and green pepper for a bit of fresh heat. Taste and add more salt if needed, and you can serve this one hot or chilled.
I personally think it's better when it's cold. Trust me. Have it cold. It's really, really refreshing.
I obviously had to make kimchi jjigae because I'm Korean. It's my ultimate comfort meal. Into the pot goes pork, kimchi, onion, leek, gochujang, and water. Once it comes to a simmer, add firm tofu and top with extra green onion if you're feeling fancy. This is the dish that Koreans crave after a long trip, hot, spicy, and sour. Tteok, aka rice cakes, is our final focus ingredient. We're starting with the queen of Korean street food, tteokbokki. I'm making a soupy version that's more commonly eaten at home. Add your rice cakes into dashi broth, then stir in our master spicy sauce. Next, add fish cakes and leeks, then season with soy sauce. Let it come to a simmer until the leeks have softened. And there you go, duper soupy tteokbokki! We're taking a tteokbokki time machine and going back into its original form, also known as royal tteokbokki, 궁중 tteokbokki. It's royal because it was made with luxurious ingredients like beef and rice cakes long before chili flakes were introduced to Korea. Start by marinating thinly sliced ribeye with soy sauce, minced garlic, brown sugar, mirin, and black pepper. In a pan with half neutral oil and half sesame oil, saute the beef until it takes on some color, then add onion and leeks, a splash of soy sauce, and a bit more sugar. Stir until it reduces into a nice thick glaze, then add in the rice cakes, deglaze with a little bit of water, and finish with a drizzle of sesame oil, a shower of sesame seeds, and a final crack of black pepper over the top. And just like that, you've got tteokbokki fit for a king.
To be honest, I like this better than regular tteokbokki. And I bet you didn't even know about it.
Next up is one every Korean kid remembers grabbing as an after-school snack, crispy rice cake skewers. Start by blanching the rice cakes. This softens them just enough to skewer without splitting, and you can skip this step if your rice cakes are freshly made. Oil a pan and roast the skewered rice cakes on both sides until they're puffy, golden, and crisp. You can also do this in an air fryer at 180 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes. Equal parts master spicy sauce and ketchup. Brush it on one side of the rice cake, and that's it. It's sweet, spicy, and crispy. Nostalgia on a stick. And all those kids who grew up eating those rice cakes on a skewer, they grew up into adults who now order jimdak, a popular spicy Korean takeout dish with chicken and rice cakes. Start by placing chicken thighs skin down, make sure they're dry, otherwise the skin will stick. Season with salt and black pepper and press down with a plate to maximize contact with the pan. Once they naturally release, flip and cook briefly on the other side, then spoon the rendered chicken fat over the skin to get it extra crispy. Transfer to a wire rack to rest. In the same pan, add your rice cakes and toast until golden brown, then pour in sauce and water, mixing until everything is evenly coated. Add the chicken back in, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and let it simmer until the sauce thickens into a glossy, sticky coating. Finish off with a drizzle of sesame oil and a sprinkling of sesame seeds. Another easy chicken dish often eaten during the summer months is chicken porridge because it's light, nourishing, and easy on the stomach. Start with a whole big cup of garlic, soaked rice, water, chicken, and a splash of soy sauce to add subtle caramelized flavor. Season generously with salt and cook everything in a pressure cooker for 15 minutes. Remove the chicken and let it cool. Shred the meat, then return it to the pot. And don't forget to put the juices back in. Add more water to adjust the consistency and bring it back to a gentle boil. And there you have it, garlic chicken porridge. We're finally on dish number 98, beef bulgogi, but in my house we call it apagogi, which translates to dad meat. Okay, that sounds really weird in English, but hear me out. This was the one dish my dad used to make for me other than instant ramen, and honestly, the only thing I'd eat when I was a picky little kid. Years later, I found out that this style of beef is actually famous near my dad's hometown, Gwangyang. It uses the same marinade as the royal tteokbokki, but the key is to let all the moisture cook off. You want the sugars to caramelize and the beef to get slightly crispy. Plate it flat, sprinkle some sesame seeds in the center, and that's it. I got 99 problems, but a pork ain't one. We're on to our final protein and Korea's favorite, pork. Oiji bulgogi is one of those dishes that if it was on the school lunch menu, it makes you want to sprint to the cafeteria to be first in line. Start by marinating your pork in our master spicy marinade, plus a good spoonful of gochujang and a splash of mirin. Let it sit for a bit, then add in sliced onions and leeks. Cook it on medium-high heat and don't forget to add a little bit of water because the extra moisture helps all the flavor soak into the meat. Serve it with rice and maybe let it cool down a little bit before you take a bite, not like me. Before we move on to our last dish, working with sponsors allows us to create high quality content like this for free, so thank you for supporting the folks that support our channel. Today's sponsor is Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that helps you build a site that actually looks and feels like you. Just like how banchan might seem simple on their own, but come together to make a meal that feels whole, Squarespace brings all the right tools you need in one place. Here are 3 reasons why Squarespace is the perfect place to start. Number 1, Blueprint AI. With Blueprint AI, you answer a few questions about your brand and vibe, then it builds a fully custom layout with content that fits your style with no design skills needed. Number 2, design intelligence. Squarespace combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology. It automatically picks colors, fonts, and layouts that work together so your site looks polished in a matter of seconds. Number 3, visual design tools. You get a ton of modern built-in design options that make your site look clean and professional right from the start. So if you want to try it out, start your free trial at squarespace.com/doobidubop, and when you're ready to launch, use code doobidubop to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Dish number 100 is love. And by love, I mean samgyeopsal, aka pork belly. It's the crown jewel of Korean barbecue, and trust me, every single banchan we made today will go perfectly well with pork belly, as demonstrated here by my dad. Even though it's cheesy, I'm gonna say it, banchan is best when shared. All these different dishes come together to make one balanced meal, each one doing its part, and maybe it's a little corny, but I like to think that we're all just little banchans in this world bringing our own flavor, making one delicious life. As the Gen Zs like to say, I kinda ate with that one. No? So this is it, doobies. 100 banchans. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Doing this video has been something that I've been wanting to do from the very beginning I started YouTube. I made my channel because I wanted to teach people how to cook Korean food and to actually tell them it's very easy, it's approachable and affordable, and I think this video kind of proved that. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really loved making it, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to comment below and let me know what your favorite recipes are. All recipes are linked to my website down below, so please go check it out. Goodbye! I see you next time. Go to doobimart.com for sick merch.